exactly this video came from to no avail. I scoured Reddit, 4chan, YouTube, and even the video's comment section to find absolutely nothing worth noting. Where in the actual hell did this video come from, and who made it? On the brink of giving up, I did a quick archive search on the Wayback Machine to find a snapshot of his channel from 2014. This was, if you don't know, before YouTube pushed the full name system for channels. I saw that their channel name up until the change was D's Nuts FYC. Now, I know. I'll just refer to him as FYC from now on. Anyway, I felt that I had somewhat of a lead, but could it go anywhere? Scouring the internet with FYC's old channel name led me to this site called LurkerFacts. If you don't know what this is, it's essentially a continuous archive of the popular GameFAQs message boards. It makes sense that I'd find him here given the fact that most of his YouTube videos were simply Call of Duty gameplay. Anyway, on LurkerFacts, I found quite the heap of posts that he made on GameFAQs boards, and many of those posts were of this video. He posted it the first time, to which users were shocked and terrified of what the hell they were seeing. One quick side note that I want to make here real fast is that if you haven't noticed by the channel name, FYC is sort of a troll. To be completely honest, he's a smartass, and throughout his comments it definitely shows. Anyway, users were appalled by this video and kept asking him various questions about it, to which he replied in a smartass fashion. He gave absolutely no background, no backstory, no answers, nothing. I became increasingly frustrated since I simply could not for the life of me find the origins of this video. That was until I saw his behavior on these posts and some of the other notable videos that he had created. Constantly on the GameFAQs posts about his, quote, sister, he would say, bump. Now if you somehow don't know what this means, allow me to explain super quickly. Message boards are typically sorted from newest content to oldest, and more often than not, if a new comment occurs on an old thread, it'll essentially bump it to the top of the board, causing it to be in the spotlight once again. Anyway, throughout his 3 posts of the same video over the course of a year from June 2011 to July 2012, it seems that he bumped them quite a bit. Honestly, if I stumbled upon a creepy video online, ripped it off, and uploaded it to my channel, I absolutely wouldn't give the effort over the course of a year to push this video out to people as heavily as he did. Something is beginning to tell me that maybe, just maybe, he created this thing as a joke and to mess with people. But wait a minute, isn't he a gamer? Why would he do this? Well, I noticed one other video that he pushed on GameFAQs quite a bit that originated from his channel. This one is titled, This Is Only a Test. Take a look at it real fast.
Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Papa's gonna buy you a mockingbird.
Now, why is this one significant? It seems as if this video was created by him, since this one appears to be a mashup of strange and distorted clips to strike a sense of fear in people. Also, jumping over to his present day channel, we can see that his channel trailer, that was uploaded a couple of years after these, shows us that this guy clearly has an interest in creepypasta and online horror creation. The quality is less than stellar, but he shows interest in doing this. So, why on a gaming channel? I'm honestly led to believe that this guy made the My Sister video with some creepy masks. He did a damn good job at this, and since it didn't get the recognition that he wanted back then, he resorted to GameFAQs to freak people out, since it would clearly be out of place on a video game forum. I believe that he wanted people to become intrigued, have a desire for more, and as a result, check out his channel. would gamers do upon arriving at his channel? They'd notice that he has gaming videos. It's a genre that people from a gaming forum would take interest in, so they'd possibly drop a subscription. These out-of-place creepy videos were likely created by him and are there to drive up curiosity about his channel. His other horror videos seem like they were uninspired, and it doesn't seem like his channel ever really took off. 10 months ago was his last upload, and since then, there really hasn't been much word from Raider Dog at all. Nonetheless, I want to throw out a disclaimer that this is my personal theory regarding this situation. I 100% recommend that you go over to his channel, fish through his content, and see if there's anything that you can dig up about this mystery. I was unable to find any solid and definitive evidence regarding the origin of this video, and this is all entirely theory based upon his behavior back then. I am genuinely curious to see what you all may find. Anyway, this was my analysis on the My Sister video. I hope you all enjoyed this. Also, get hyped because we're on a 5-day marathon that isn't stopping until Friday. I am so hyped to present the other topics to you this week, and I cannot wait to see what you all think of them. Lastly, thanks once again for watching. I'll see you tomorrow. I love you all, and as always, good night.
Yep.
Rivali's gale is now ready.
Web series. They all seem to have a certain style and charm to them. All of them that I've come across never fail to unnerve me. Today, we're going to dive into a series that was recently recommended to me, and I just want to say, there's a lot more to this than meets the eye. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the channel name since I do nothing more than completely butcher it, so I'll refer to it by its English translation. I'd like to welcome you all to the magic world of Anya. The magic world of Anya has a narrative that surrounds the mysterious disappearance of a charming girl named Anya Slavinska. Throughout the uploads, we become oriented with her family and friends through various interviews that occur in the series. Nobody seems to really know what happened to Anya, however the dialogue that's presented to us leaves us thinking that whatever it isn't good. This series is very much still active, and at this point in time, we don't necessarily have a full picture of the story. Instead of calling this an explain video like I initially wanted to do, I'm just going to walk you through everything and what has happened so far. Let's start with the channel description. It reads, Missing person Anya Slavinska. Anya was reported missing on May 29, 1993. She was 20 years old, Dutch language and literature student. She was last seen on May 27, 1993 at her flat. Anya is 165 centimeters tall, has straight blonde hair with fringe and blue eyes. To date, she has not contacted her family or friends. If you have any information regarding Anya Slavinska, please contact us immediately. This description leads us to assume that there's an ongoing investigation for Anya. However, I wanted to point out a couple things. I performed a missing people search on the Polish missing persons database, and unfortunately was unable to dig up anything regarding a real-life Anya or Anna Slavinska. While this girl's name in the series was the dead end, there are some other things that were shown that I'd like to point out to you later in the video. The series is relatively short so far since they only joined YouTube about 4 months ago. We have a series that's so far numbered from 1 to 6, with some spin-off episodes in between. One quick point that I want to make is that I was able to get caught up to speed on the revelations from the series through the series subreddit and the awesome people there. One of the major points that they hit was the fact that the series was previously numbered as a fraction of 9. For instance, upload 1 was 0.5 over 9, upload 2 was 1 over 9, and so on and so forth. However, they've only recently changed their numbering scheme, which leads me to assume that there may be 18 or more main uploads to this thing. Anyway, the first upload is titled Bone Crystallization and is what you just saw. Let's start by diving into it. The description of the video states, the bones crystallize only under the conditions of real love, and the upload itself is pretty cut and dry, serving as a solid introduction to the series. We initially see a crowd of people in what looks like a busy street. Each person in the photo becomes enveloped in red with the beat of the song, until only one person is left. Since we previously established that this series surrounds a girl named Anya, we can assume that this is her. Immediately after this, the shot cuts to a girl in a cornfield with what looks like a wig and a mask on. She's ominously staring at us until a cut where she appears to be walking away, and after this, we see a shot of her lying on the ground, seemingly lifeless. I'll get back to what I believe this girl represents later on. Anyway, after this, the video fades to a pond in the middle of the woods with Morse code
Link,
before ending.
you
After
are
running
our
this video
final
through the
hope.
decoder, I determined that the Morse
The
code
fate
says
of Hyrule rests with you.
POMOZMI. This is Slovenian for help me.
Who is that? Did I doze off again?
Jumping ahead to episode 2, you can see that this one is a bit longer.
It's
It opens with
you.
a bunch of strange imagery.
You
and I'd like to
finally
show you some of it
decided to
real fast.
return.
Take a look.
Better late than never. After 100 years, I'd nearly given up hope on seeing you again. Even my patience has limits, you know. That look on your face tells me that you have no recollection of me, however. I have watched over Hyrule since time immemorial. Many have referred to me over the ages as the Deku Tree. That is the weapon created by the ancient goddess. The sword that seals the darkness that only the chosen knight can wield against the Calamity Ganon. Believe it or not, it was actually you who wielded that sword 100 years ago. But I must warn you to take extreme caution.
The latter half of the
The
episode
sword
involves a phone
stands
call
as a
involving
test
woman named
to
Christina
anyone
with
who would
emergency
dare
services.
attempt to
She
possess
describes
it.
Anya as having gone missing, and then goes ahead to
As you
describe
all
various further
know,
information
I
such
cannot
as her
say
age.
whether you are
After
worthy
this, we're
or
presented
not.
with numbers which, when decoded,
If you
spell out the
sought
word
to
Tumblr.
free the
The
sword
video
in
then
any
presents a
sort
narrative
of
which seems to
weaker
represent a
state,
broadcast letting
you
everybody know
would
that Anya is
surely
missing.
lose your life where you stand.
Dzisiaj z nami w studio pani Krystyna i pani Małgorzata. Obie panie przyjechały do nas w sprawie zaginionej Ani.
Best of luck, young one.
Słowińska, Bazy 21. Studentka drugiego roku, kiedy
stało się z Anią? Dlaczego nie ma jej tu dzisiaj z nami?
As this is happening, a shot of an eyeball is presented on screen with Morse code before we reach the end, seeing the masked girl once more as she backtracks and then vanishes. Something that I want to point out here is the idea that the masked girl, who is presumably Anya, is hesitantly walking backwards. This could represent her potentially backing away from a captor and trying to escape before disappearing and going missing. This is supported by the main dialogue that follows, saying, I couldn't hurt her. Also, regarding the Morse code, being decoded, we're presented with a string of text that, when coupled with the previous translation saying Tumblr, leads us to a Tumblr site with a newspaper involving Anya going missing. One of the users from the subreddit decoded this, and I'll leave a link to this in the description. Anyway, there's still a lot of mystery to this, so let's press on. In this episode, we're presented with quite a bit of imagery as well. Some highlights that I'd like to point out here are the existence of a dancing doll, a face on the television screen, which we can assume is Anya, and a doll crying with cameras in front of her. Take a look. Spelled out to us, and after translation, these are determined to spell the word hallucinations. This video is titled About Beautiful Christina and Her Wonderful Dream, and seems to open with said dream. While the background song is playing, we see various imagery depicting television with Anya's face on it, and cameras flashing as the girl being photographed cries. Following this act, the video cuts to what seems like an underground cell where Christina is being interviewed. I want to point out something really fast. During this interview, the camera shows a male figure admiring porcelain dolls. He seems to be stroking them in a very strange manner, and just look.
Tak mi się wydaje, że trochę za dużo nerwów miała ostatnio w szkole i ją to po prostu przerosło.
Dobrze, dziękuję pani bardzo. Czy mógłbym prosić jeszcze o zapozowanie? Zrobiłbym zdjęcie do
Jumping to the next act in the video, we're presented with more dialogue while the masked girl on screen is holding skulls. Christina talks about how she believes Anya may have been abducted by a cult, and that she could have been seeing somebody inappropriate. Also, she claims that when Anya was a child, a strange man tried to abduct her on the street, leading her to believe that a cult was following her. The next act of the video then starts with another interview, presumably with a neighbor or family friend. They're claiming that Anya was always a good girl and was very sweet. They then make a revelation that's a little strange. So, there was a so-called hobo hanging around the area before Anya was abducted, and he lived in a hut by the forest. Interesting. Also, we see dolls during this segment, leading us to believe that this might have a lot more to do with the situation than we think. This video is extremely short, but without secrets. One segment of the video that I atoms and molecules. You die, and absolutely nothing changes. Let's move forward. This episode is short and has a ton of vital information packed into it. We can see that the video opens with the masked girl presumably disoriented due to the lighting and camera angles. As the video progresses, we see various other masked people, leading us to assume that she's not the only one who's captured. The scene then cuts to a cell-like area, where we can presume it is another spot where they're being held. Towards the end of the video, we're presented with another code through numbers, and after decoding them through the cipher presented to us back at the beginning of the video, we're left with the phrase KRWRZ Tumblr, which represents a link to another Tumblr page, giving us some backstory on the capture of Anya. It displays an interview with Anya Nebraska, who discusses an unusual event involving Anya not covered by Anya Running Man. I'll leave a link to this as well in the description. To some theories for later. The video opens with the hand grabbing a paper heart and then cuts to a scene you're better off just watching. Shortly. This is a recent upload on the channel, and there's another long one with a bunch of secrets back there. The video opens with a man outside talking about, quote, temples that have been set up in the world. This is extremely important since we're looking at them and have names on the planet. Each temple seems to be inhabited by a master or several. The temple claims in an interview that he's building a second temple, and this could either be for Anya or some unknown character we'll see in the future. The man he's talking to asks him if these are his girlfriends, to which he responds that he's not into such things. Following this scene, we hear Morse code followed by shots of the city, and then a girl. The girl seems to lose her teeth, potentially due to being beaten and captured, and this is supported by her falling to the ground immediately after and becoming overgrown with shrubbery. We then see a ton of skulls and teeth and some strange imagery once more. Take a look at it. At the end of the episode, we see another interview with a lady who claims that she found photos of Anya in the trash with her diary. We're then presented with another cipher before viewing a shot of the woods, which appears to be an outdoor shower. This could potentially be a part of a shot of Anya or one of the other missing persons from the series. Something else that Reddit user Oleg L found in this episode from the cipher was the existence of another hidden Tumblr page. This page contains audio that, when decoded, leads to yet another video titled ... which shows Anya's diary. This has been decoded on their subreddit, and I'll leave a link to this as well in the description. This episode is the most recent one on the channel and feeds into a couple theories that I'm going to present to you shortly. To open, we can see porcelain legs protruding out of the ground. This is followed by shots of many other porcelain doll heads. Immediately after this, we see a blonde woman who we can assume is the real Anya. She's in a field with someone frolicking about, and this is then followed by multiple shots of television. Some major takeaways I want you to remember once more are these dolls, the teeth, and the televisions that were shown. Now, I want to dive into some theories that myself and the people on the Magic World of Anya subreddit created for this behemoth. While it's a massive stretch, there is a theory that this entire series could be linked to a real-life abduction and murder. This is due to the existence of a few people and newspaper clippings that display this Slavinska. The page seems to coincide with the series perfectly, and could lead to some real examples. However, taking some different theories to display that information given from the channel description, unfortunately I was unable to make up anything related to this case. While this is so, the channel could be loosely tied to a real-life abduction murder under a different name. Evidence for this, however, has yet to be found. Another theory that I'd like to present is one that's discussed in the series itself. During Christina's interview from episode 4, she claimed that Anya was nearly affected by a strange man when she was a kid, and is led to believe that a cult was following her. Also, Anya believed there had been seeing inappropriate people in her spare time, which could be members of some cult. She could have completely consented to her disappearance, running away with these people and living some sort of fake life in the woods. This is supported by the masks and imagery from episode 6, where everyone is living in the woods in a cult-like fashion. Major drawbacks to this theory include the scenes of the masked people, or even Anya, seemingly running from a captor. This seems to discredit any form of consent that we may theorize could be in this cult, and ultimately could represent something of some sort. This is a phenomenal theory that was sent to me by a user named Greenland is Evil on their subreddit. They claim that if we think back to episode 1, we can see a lot of the color red, which could represent evil. This entire series could be an allegory for fashion, and it all could initially be due to Anya herself. We see her crying as the cameras take pictures of her in episode 3 and 4. If we look back to episode 2, however, we can see her in a dress with a man who's presumably her father. There's flashes of red coloring, and she seems to be meeting with the appearance, presumably due to a life of electric entertainment, or attempting to be ashamed of this discovery. Greenland then claimed that in episode 4, the interviewee states that Anya appeared to be stressed out and was losing weight, potentially to keep up with her appearance. The strange man that continuously appears in each of the uploads could be a representation of the world that Anya has to endure, since he seems to be infatuated with capturing perfection. This is represented by the dolls that litter each episode, being directly related to the masks. This man probably doesn't care if his victims are dead or alive, since he can cover them in porcelain or even masks if they're lifeless. Think about the title of episode 6, Disembodiments of the Dead Things. All he cares about is perfection, and he has not only Anya as a life representation, but many others as well. The simple abduction theory has a lot of the same pointers as the fashion and allegory theory. However, one major difference is the elimination of the allegory aspect of it. Anya could very well be seen as simply depressed with her life, and the cameras could be a representation of her social life. Christina claimed that she was extremely stressed and was losing weight, and she potentially ran off into the woods to get a doll. not knowing that she was running straight into the same woods that the so-called hobo was occupying. This hobo could be the same man who's abducting all of these people, and like we said before, he likely doesn't care if his victims are dead or alive. He's abducting them for the sake of it, and for the high he potentially feels, which is probably why in episode 6, he claimed that he was working on a seventh temple. Each of these people could be his victims, and their names are likely on each of these temples. Also, being cut off from the rest of the world due to being stuck and disoriented in these woods could leave these victims to be helpless, simply living under this man who seems to be the only one able to feed them if they're even still alive. This is represented in episode 5, where the group holds up an apple to the sun, representing a deity, which to them could be this man, only to be beheaded. Their lives really don't matter to him, whether they're real or fake in porcelain dolls. He just wants to feed his perfection obsession. I know there are many more potential theories out there, and that I might have missed quite a bit from this series, but I just want to take a moment and say how much I appreciate it. It has such a high production value for such a small audience, and incorporates codes and ciphers throughout without overdoing it. This is a phenomenal series with a fantastic story, and I want you to go over there and subscribe to keep up with it as it progresses. It seems to still be in its infancy, and I encourage you to try to decode and interpret their future uploads. I will be keeping an eye on it as well. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching my analysis of the Magic World of Anya. I hope you enjoyed this, and boy, oh boy, it's good to be back. Here's to an awesome 2018. I couldn't be more excited for what's to come. Lastly, I'll see you guys in the next one. Love you all, and good night.
Okay, so fine, whatever, it's a parody. But I think like a good parody needs to understand the exact essence of what does work for something. Even if you're making fun of it, you need to understand why it works for the people that it works for to get there. And this kind of does that. Hang on 1 second. What is this? Oh, did I watch this one? I think this might be the one I was thinking of. Okay, so this is an example of a good parody, right? It knows what it's making fun of. I think the comments are just like, when your parody is so well made, it wraps around to being scary again. That's kind of what it is, because that was by itself unsettling, and analog horror can be really unsettling if it's done right, and you can do a parody that's so good that it does wrap around all the way to unsettling. By the way, this is a great video. How audio enhances the horror of Five Nights at Freddy's. Great video. The other thing that I want to show you is something that kind of goes beyond just analog horror. There's a video by the Mystery Flesh Pit guy. I don't know. The person who does the Mystery Flesh Pit also has a YouTube channel. I don't know if you know this. Okay. And the first video that they ever put out was this one. And this one's just like, it's fascinating because it is technically, I think, in the genre of analog horror. But then again, the whole premise of the Mystery Flesh Pit, which if you don't know about, you should look it up, is kind of in the same vein as why this analog horror as a concept is scary. It's something rooted in the past, because the story of the Mystery Flesh Pit is all told from the perspective of articles and memorabilia and little informational placards that are from the era of when the Mystery Flesh Pit existed and before the disaster of the Mystery Flesh Pit. And so you uncover the universe through in-universe clues that occurred after the event occurred. And this is one of them. So this is cool, right? This came out December of 2020. It is now 2022, so this was over a year ago. This is actually before a lot of these analog horror videos came out. It's not the first analog horror thing by a long shot, but it is one of the earlier ones, and it has a great example of why it and a lot of the analog horror videos work so well. It's something that you know, even if it's an emergency, you know this scream. You know this. Because you know it, even if it's something you can be used to it, and you can understand it. However, there's already strange things that are happening in this emergency broadcast that really mark it out as something that you should pay attention to, and something that is not what you expect. And that is the basis of what makes it so kind of creepy, because it's unsettling, because it's something that you expect to know, and it's not what it is. It's not a tornado warning. It's not like an earthquake warning. No, it's geobiological activity advisory. That makes you go, what the fuck is that? You don't know what that is, but you know those words, geobiological. So, okay, geological, biological, something that's on the scale of geology and biology. That's weird at first, and that's like the whole reason why the Mystery Flesh Pit works so well. But also, just like the rest of it going on as it continues, the fact that it is a recording of a screen, and you have the environmental things happening that are kind of coinciding with the message that is being relayed, and it's rooted in reality, right? It's rooted in reality, and that's kind of the bigger point of it. Like, it's rooted in something that could potentially be real. You see these counties, you know roughly the size of what a county is in a state if you're from America. This thing, whatever the frick it is, it's so big, and you hear them talking about how there's an activity warning off the northeastern limb of the Permian Basin superorganism. All of these are pretty much new words to anybody that's ever read English and grew up knowing English. All of these are pretty new, but you know the combinations of them, and you know the basis of the context that you're getting it, and all of them spell bad news. So this event is expected to cause moderate to severe damage. Also, like, understating what it could possibly do, and just like the list of things and the things happening in the noise. Like, you could say a lot about the production quality and like the different things and the actual realism of it, but the fact that it is there and it's happening all aids to the idea that it's kind of real. That's the other thing about analog horror. It taps into this thing where you don't know it's not real. You can play a lot of horror games and you can know that they're not real because you're playing a game. But when you're watching an informational video like this, you don't automatically know that it's not real if you've never been exposed to something like this before. And that also is what makes analog horror really creepy. You don't know if this informational broadcast about people that aren't people, that kind of look like people, is real or not. You know that it's probably not real, but it seems presented in a way that could be real. Especially if it's like that game, Maple County, that is a police instructional video. And if someone would only go to the trouble of making an instructional video if it was something that actually needed to be instructed, right? So there's a sense of realism. And then you get these things like you might experience headaches, nausea, okay, fever, hallucinations, okay, dizziness, mild seizures, okay, temporary changes in vision, reduced or enhanced cognitive abilities, like limited precognition. Like these things, like lumping the real in with the non-real, I think is what really hones in this idea, kind of hiding the unreal in the real. And that's what makes Mystery Flesh Pits so cool, is because there's so much unreal buried in real of what it could potentially be. And like that kind of like twisting of reality is where this gets cool. Now with this, with Thalison, like the Trantiveness, it's great. Well, this isn't the original one. It's great because it starts out with something that is kind of crazy, but you're like, okay, that's kind of funky. You know, a medicine that gives you emotions. Okay, all right, I get it. Not scary by itself, but it already set up a universe where it could then put dorselessness into it. Friggin' dorselessness. Ew. So I think that's kind of like my 101 about why analog horror is what it is and why it can work. So what I'm gonna do now
is watch some analog horror videos.
What about kids safety tips? What's this? Andy Lowe.
The Church of the Future Light Precincts. Fun safety tips. After school safety. What do you do when a stranger approaches you? Don't speak to them. Do not go with them. Run away and tell an adult you trust.
Okay, good advice so far.
What do you do when your parents come to pick you up? Is it really your parents? Look for their eyes. See the light. Listen to them speak. Do you hear the scratching? Let them take you somewhere fun. Play tag freely. Do not hide in places where you can get trapped. Places like old refrigerators will seal you in. That's no fun. Hide in fun places like the doorway. Keep your mouth open. Do not close your eyes. They live inside the doorway. You will have fun. You will laugh and laugh. You will stay.
Home safety.
After your parents tuck you in, open your window. Children should not sleep with their windows closed. When you hear the voices, go with them to the doorway. It will be a fun game.
Oh, all right.
Have fun.
Okay, ow. So this was not bad, but I think this is one of those ones that leans too hard, too quickly, and isn't rooted in enough reality, because I think it was good there with like don't talk to strangers, but it was like already presented in a weird way that made it seem like disturbing and wrong, and I don't think that works out as well as it could if it was something that was more basic from the get-go, or not more basic, but more, like I said, rooted in reality, and was kind of like it's one of those things where less is more, right? In horror, if you show the monster, what this is, if you show the monster, it ruins any potential scare of the unknown, right? Because you know it, and as soon as you know something, you know what it is. Well, good job, you just fell over. I think another good example of analog horror, or at least kind of this genre, I don't know if they would want to be lumped in with this, but if you remember Discover My Body, so this game I played a while ago, if you haven't seen it, go check it out. The game itself is very creepy. So the reason that was so creepy is because of the way that he makes things. It harkens the design of analog horror with like a lot of pixelation and a lot of like uncertainty about what you're seeing, and a lot of technology and stuff like that. But there's just like a certain blend of it that I think his name's Yames does that really combines a lot of elements that I love about analog horror and puts it into a package that It's just an overall very creepy thing. But the thing about Discover My Body, and if you go watch that video that I did of it, or go play the game yourself, better yet, it's presented like it's normal. And I think that's the key. So when you get to the part where he's starting to flower other brains off of like his bones or something, he's acting like it's perfectly normal. The incredible pain of that other step where he just starts screaming is presented like it's perfectly normal. And it's all part of the plan. And if there's a plan, then you can follow the plan and you can survive. But if you don't follow the plan, they're going to find you and you will be defenseless against them. So just stick to the plan and everything will be just fine. Specifically with that makes things scary, but the combination of it should be pretty obvious. Anyway, what I want to do is I want to go to some more of this Mandela catalog, because I really liked what was going on with the Mandela catalog. Like, I don't know if it was like the best made, but I kind of want to look at some other things around there. This is Exhibition. It's a longer one. I was just skipping through this a little bit and I just saw that. You know, I don't like that. I'm not gonna lie, I don't like that. I mean, that's very simple, but at the same time, I don't like it. I think that's analog horror. You just look at it and go, I don't like it. I don't like that. Could I have less of that, please? And then it gives you more of that, right? That's what it does. Anyway, this is like some... Listen, can you crank that up for me? Make it more legible, hearable. What? The death of Mark? I saw the death of Mark. Analog television and mirrors. All right, so that's the story. Don't look at analog TVs. No CRTs around here. All right, cool.
Let's face it, us parents know how time-consuming it is to keep an eye on our young children. Working is essential. They must receive attention from us so that they know we love them too. They rely on key things that keep them entertained, like toys, locks in a drawer, or even cartoons on the family television. Be cautious with what channels your children view on television, since you never know what harmful content they may be viewing. Your children may be viewing elements of violence content, sexual content, graphic content, scary
If you hear your child screaming or crying in front of the television, wait until your child stops making noise before entering the room.
I know what to do in this situation. Nothing. I'm a good parent, am I? See no baby. I don't see no baby. Hi. Hey. You've taken some Dilamin, whatever it is. Hello? Every time. How did I know this was gonna happen? Every time. So, that ends ends my exploration of analog horror. There's a lot of different things that you can do with analog horror. It doesn't all have to be creativeness. It doesn't all have to be Rouge or Onlin. It doesn't have to be that, or Loric, or any of these, or even Dorslessness. But it's fun, and it's hard to get right. But it's a cool genre, subgenre, whatever. It's cool. And also, if you didn't hear me talk about this, there's a subreddit called Distressing Memes that has a little bit of this feeling. We didn't talk about analog horror on the podcast. If you want to get the episode, I'll link it in the description below where we talk about this. It's a really good episode. But it's just like distressing memes. See, this is exactly what I was talking about, the alternates and stuff, shit like that. But distressing memes is great. Like, legitimately, we go in depth in this on the podcast. Link is in the description, but it's just this shit, you know? It's just, it's just this, yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyway, having fun, memes, so cool. But it's the same thing, right? You know what a meme is, even if you don't find memes funny on a general basis. But it's just like taking that concept of what you know, turning it around into something you are unsure of it is unsettling. It's great. That's the energy of me and the boys at 2 a.m. looking for beans. It's got that energy. But this is somehow not terrifying at all. This sounds great. It sounds like a good time, but unfortunately, so anyway, I'm done with this video. If you want to try more analog horror stuff, go look it up and go tell me what you think is the best one and what really dissects what it means to be scary, because it's not an easy thing to nail down. Oddly enough, for a guy that has played a lot of horror games and like I've done some spooky stuff in the past, it's not an easy thing to nail down. Thank you. If you want to listen more about our conversations about this kind of stuff and our personal experiences of scary stories that we have had in our lives, one of which I have actually experienced just like a few weeks ago, where I could have sworn that I heard Amy talking to me directly in front of me in a dark bedroom, when in fact she was all the way across the house behind me. So anyway, link to that is in the description below. Go to click right down there. Have fun. It's a good episode. So thank you everybody so much for watching. Let me know what you thought down in the comments below. Let me know what analog horror you find and what scary things scare you. And as always, I'll see you next video. Bye-bye!
Hello everybody and welcome to the True Crime Unsolved Iceberg. As the title suggests, this is going to be a look at atrocities and crimes committed by people who to this day have not been caught. The chart goes from everything from unsolved cases all the way down to are hard to explain, let alone catch you in. I will not be showing any crime scene imagery, but I will be discussing some more intense topics, especially as the iceberg goes on. So, viewer discretion advised. I would also like to thank Reddit user Washer Moss, who made this iceberg and was a big help to me figuring out some things that I didn't even know about and couldn't find information on initially. As he said, the chart is ranked by obscurity and a little bit of depravity. That being said, timestamps But you'll notice that I omitted a few of them from this video. The reason being the original iceberg was just unsolved mysteries. A few had to do with just stick to the true crime aspect, especially since a lot of those supernatural ones I covered in the conspiracy series. Or at least I felt like I should provide my opinion for this video, because you know the thing about opinions is everything's opinion. And speaking of opinions, how would you like to get paid for yours? I'm going to tell you how. The sponsor of today's video, Outpost. Now I'll be completely honest with you guys. Whenever I saw a video Outpost video, I thought it was too good to be true. The site advertises that for free, and I'm not giving any of the sensitive information. People are making money just by answering questions. So I got on the site, tried it out, and it's actually what they said it is. Opinion Outpost works as a hub where companies can use your thoughts as a census group and then pay you for your opinions. So in other words, you can do what I did and make a couple dollars while you're on the couch watching Netflix. By just answering surveys, you will get points that can lead you to rewards like Amazon gift cards or even direct payouts through PayPal. So this sounds like an awesome product. I wanted to bring it to you all if you're interested. So I am happy that they're sponsoring us. Just use the link in the description. You can go directly to Opinion Outpost and start earning money from bots. Because hey, everybody's got an opinion, but not everyone's got cash. Thank you so much everyone for watching. A massive thank you to Opinion Outpost for sponsoring this video. It really does mean a lot, especially from a small creator like myself. Check out Opinion Outpost and we will get back to the video. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this. I have come down with a really cold kicking it off with tier 1 as always. Thank you for watching. Jack the Ripper is confirmed to have 5 victims, although some believe him to have more. He mostly preyed on people in the Whitechapel district of London in 1800. While no one knows exactly who Jack the Ripper was, all of the victims were pushing Zodiac Killer was a serial killer having 5 known victims with the Zodiac Killer had couples who from cryptograms he would send out to the press as a means of taunting them to his whereabouts, even claiming that in one of the ciphers was his real name, although that cipher has never been solved. People were so desperate to figure out who the Zodiac Killer was. Popular crimes of the time, although Robert Grace was considering he was one of the initial people interviewed as a possible suspect. And while a lot of the evidence proved to be circumstantial, the fact that the killer stopped and didn't have leads several to believe that he was. The murder of the Grimes sisters was a brutal murder that took place in Chicago in 1996. Barbara and Patricia Grimes were back then. Moved together. They only 15 and 12 years old and sparked the largest search in history. During the there were also several weird sides to people, such as seeing them get on and off a bus in a town several miles away, or seeing them eating at the diner as if nothing was wrong. Yeah. There is a very popular theory that James Earl Ray did not kill Martin Luther King Jr. secret that the government hated Martin Luther King doing everything from denying his concealed carry permit to writing him letters in an attempt to make him kill himself. Several believe that perhaps James Earl Ray was just part of a bigger conspiracy, and I went down such a rabbit hole with this that we'll probably get deeper dives, so stay tuned. Bob Crane was a famous actor from the show Hogan's Heroes. However, unlike the host of television, he was not on set, he was doing a whole lot of other As a matter of fact, he greatly enjoyed filming these events, sometimes battling to save out the Lakers themselves, with the help of his partner, John Henry Carpenter. That was until June 29, 1978, when Victoria Baird, his co-star, came to see him as he had not been aware that day. A phone call record. Immediately, attention turned toward Henry Carpenter. According to Bob's son, the night before his dad was murdered, John was in a fight with Bob over the phone. As Bob had said that John had gotten weird and clingy and he was trying to break off their friendship. This led to an investigation of John, but nothing conclusive was turned up, although a lot of people to this day think something did. Because, like, they impounded his car and they found blood and supposedly brain matter in the backseat. They didn't test the DNA right because it was 1978, so it wasn't conclusive, but like, if you found the brain matter in the blood and then his best friend's dead the next day, probably. This one, like, unsolved. Come on, it's really. What people are sure is that Paul Simpson and Ross Holden were murdered on June 12, 1954. Attention immediately turned towards Paul's husband, O.J. Simpson. Despite evidence so far, which led to non-guilty other suspects since, because Tupac, who was a famous rapper, was murdered on September 7, 1997 in Vegas. At 11:15 Tupac survived away. The only real single suspect that's been named in the case is a man named Orlando Anderson, who was a Crip that Tupac had gone into. Closely related is the death of the rapper, also known as Biggie, in a very similar circumstance, at nearly 1 in the morning, while sitting in his car, a Chevy Impala drove up next to BIG's vehicle and fired 2 bullets. Biggie was hit 4 times and died that night from his injuries in the hospital. With his death occurring 6 months after Tupac's, many relate this to be part of the Now, Elisa Lam's pretty popular now, thanks in most part to the Netflix documentary that showcased the most probable reason for her disappearance. However, for those of you who don't know, on February 19th of 2013, Elisa Lam was seen on the security camera of the Cecil Hotel, freaking out and seemingly nothing. On the security tapes, you can see her peeking in and out of an elevator, seeming freaked out as if someone's following her, before she runs off and begins singing. 3 days later, she found a water tank on the roof of the hotel. While now the common theory is that she was off of her medication and was suffering a sort of delusional mental episode, it doesn't explain all the pieces like how she got to the roof, how she got inside of the water tower, and if anyone else was involved. The Volta Pass incident occurred in bodies were found in Russia. What had happened was this group of researchers had gone out in order to do forward observations of this sort of tundra area within Russia. After not reporting back for 2 weeks, a rescue crew went out to locate them, which when they found them, all 9 of them were in very good. They suffered everything from extreme chest However, the other party made sure they could take the ransom that suggests that whoever wrote it that was asked for was almost exactly what the husband as a work bonus that year. On top of that, the officer later noted whenever he looked at it, meaning that whoever did lock it was huge. This all implies that we're still going to this argument got to such a point in the investigation that followed that police officers got to This is a cool one to look into. I suggest you do it. I'm not going to say anything on YouTube because of researching this. I found out that the Nancy family for allegations and stuff. I'm not saying anything. I'm simply postulating. So we're moving on to the next one. I saw this happened when Marvin Martin called the police couple. Saw several people before shutting the heads and realized that was not thief. The chief and only suspect of the case was Charles Rogers, who was with the couple. Charles is always known as the only blood that was led many to believe Charles was a CIA agent. And not only that, people have placed Charles in Dallas, Texas on the day of the Kennedy assassination. Which means many people think that Charles helped assassinate John F. Kennedy as part of the Kennedy conspiracy. So, following that train of logic, perhaps his parents were getting a little too close to figuring out what he was doing, and either him or the organization he was a part of had to silence them. Although that still doesn't explain why they were, like, made into hot dog packets and On November 24th, a Boeing 727 was flying between Portland and Seattle when a stewardess was handed a note from the She asked to see it. He popped open his briefcase and she saw something that she later described looked like a bomb, to which he then negotiated through the stewardess with the captain of the plane of what to do next. He had the captain land the plane early and get everyone on. Once landed, he demanded several dollars in fines. Also, in the meantime, everyone who interacted with him said he was and even talked to the stewardess about how everything was going to be okay and how she was such a bright young woman with a beautiful future. He also knew a lot of other things, having to negotiate for enough gas that as well as what proven others. The plan he told them was to fly to Mexico, but while they were on the way and in Europe, he told everyone to get into the while they were they asked him from the cockpit Jameson family death is really that happened whenever the Jameson family's car was discovered on October 8th. Bob and Cheryl and their daughter Madison had their truck found on the side of a rural road with their dog in the back seat, who was severely malnourished but alive. Whenever the Sheriff's Department of Latimer County, Oklahoma came to investigate the car, they found inside of it their IDs, their wallets, phones, and a briefcase containing $2,000 in cash. The more information that came out about this, the weirder it got. They went and reviewed the camera of the Jameson's family house that morning, and all you can see is the three family members in a sort of trance moving what seems to be camping gear, along with the briefcase containing $32,000. There was a massive search effort that happened in the area around the truck, however nothing was found. That was until 4 years later when a hunter discovered their bodies within a 12 truck was. Cause of death was never determined, and this raises more weird questions. If they were just lying on top of the ground dead, then why didn't the search parties that have combed over the area a ton ever find them? So were they killed somewhere else and then moved back there? And also, what were they doing in the first place? drove the car next to the woods, parked with their dogs still inside of it, all got out, walked away, and died, while leaving cash in the car. The leading theory is perhaps Bobby got drugs, and this was a of sorts, but it's also worth mentioning that their pastor said after the fact that Bobby had come to him saying that he heard spirits speaking to him after he had read his Bible and began to practice the cult. That same pastor said that Bobby was struggling and quit talking about it and just the dude's naming all these people that him and his partner killed, and then he specifically says that there's this one member behind. Yet everyone on the internet never know. Todd McAfee was someone that owned a tomato farm in Florida. He lived on a house. However, looking at Todd's vehicle that was parked up front, the keys were still in the car as well as a bag of groceries. In the truck was blood as well as Todd's bloody glasses. This caused the foreman to call the police, which during an investigation, Todd's body was discovered in a ditch 2 miles away.
The first thing that pops in your head is probably like Spider-Man or Iron Man or something. But for me, when I think of a hero, I think of anyone who has to work in retail, food service, reservations, any job where you have to interact with a customer. Those are the real heroes. I have always said and always will say that any job that requires you to interact with customers is an absolute nightmare. Hell on earth. You're constantly experiencing the worst humanity has to offer every single day. Swallowing rusty nails would be less painful. And I think that's something that everyone on this planet can agree on, that rude customers are the lowest of the low. I have more respect for cockroaches than I do some douchebag that's melting down in public, yelling at an employee over something they had no control over in the first place. It is one of my biggest pet peeves. In fact, I'd say it's probably my biggest pet peeve. I hate that shit. And today there was a video that was going pretty viral on TikTok about a guy who posted his own meltdown at GameStop, and it is so embarrassing I couldn't help but just talk about it a little bit today. Let me show you it.
Hey, what's going on, man? How you doing? Listen, I'm recording you just because I've had the hardest time returning this. So if you tell me no, I'm gonna go ahead and sue GameStop.
I see this shit all the time. If you don't help me fix this problem that is my fault, I'm going to sue the entire company. Like, what do you expect them to do? Start groveling like, oh no, please, don't sue the company. Oh no, oh goodness gracious, oh please, anything but that. Shaking their fist, I'll do anything to fix it. Oh god, just let me rectify this situation. Like, why do you expect the employee to give a fuck if you sue the company? Why is this GameStop employee all of a sudden gonna try and defend the company, the corporation, like, oh no, you will not. I will not allow you to besmirch the good name of GameStop like this. I will fix your problem immediately, now that you've threatened legal action. Like, they have no say-so in the corporation. You know, this guy isn't John GameStop here. Like, he doesn't care. Who the fuck cares? I just can't wrap my head around this, like, 4-year-old thought process here. If I go after the company, surely the employee is now going to be able to magically fix my issue. It's not their company. They don't care. They're just an employee of it. It's not like they're married to it. It's not, you know, they don't care. They shouldn't care. It just makes no sense to me. But all power to this guy. If you want to sue GameStop and lose all your money in legal fees, please, Go right ahead. It'll be a really fun, goofy headline to read. I implore you to sue GameStop. And it's really silly in this case because it's GameStop. It's not exactly a booming corporation. Like, what are you gonna sue GameStop for? Their NFTs? Like you really stand to gain nothing out of it anyway? The whole thing is just a fucking disaster, and this guy's an absolute clown.
You know, you have nothing to do with this. I just need somebody to tell me no on video so I can go ahead and sue GameStop.
A brief moment of self-awareness where he acknowledges that the employee had nothing to do with this situation, but then still continues to make a big scene out of it. Jesus Christ, it's so painful. I'd rather teabag a barrel of plutonium.
I'm just trying to get my money back here. I bought the PS5 bundle, and then they made me buy a whole bundle, which isn't even on my receipt. I didn't sign no contract under you guys' policy. It's just unopened things are returnable.
They didn't pass you the receipt?
Yeah, go ahead. I think you were in here even when I bought it. So yeah, I got pressured into buying a bundle. I didn't even want it. So I got 3 games and the charging case. I kept the controller there.
You got pressured into buying a bundle, and now you regret it. What do you mean you got pressured into buying a bundle? What, did the employees throw you against the lockers like it was football hazing? And take the goddamn credit card out of your wallet to make this purchase? What the fuck do you mean you got pressured into buying a PS5? Were you just sitting there trembling like, oh my god, they're talking about a bundle. Fuck, I'm gonna have to do it. Sweat pouring down your face. You like 8 years old? You come in here acting like a big man, but your issue makes it seem like you're just a big baby. Like, what the fuck, man? Jesus. And the whole issue is super stupid anyway, because when you buy a PS5, you get games with it. It's bundled up. And I think the reason, and I could be wrong, this one I'm not 100% sure on, the reason they bundle PS5s with games is to prevent scalping or reselling. So that way you're not just getting like the raw console to like resell for profit. You get games with it as well that drive the value up, so you spent more on like the entire package than you did just the actual hardware. I'm pretty sure it's like anti-scalping measures, though I'm not 100% sure. But when you're buying a PS5, you're never just buying like a raw PS5 anymore. It's always bundled.
I get where you're coming from, where you didn't want to buy the bundle, but that's the only way you can get the system.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
So through GameStop, right now we're only doing bundles for PS5.
Is that in writing? I know. So you're gonna just say no, huh?
Yeah, I can't take it.
So you can't give me the refund for this shit right here?
No.
Absolutely massive props to the employee here, keeping a level head and just delivering a firm no. I love that. Lays out the facts. The only way you get the system is with a bundle. Not much I can do for you there, champ. You made a decision that you regret, and I can't help you. But stop blaming us. It's your fault. You're dumb, not us.
Like,
okay. When's your manager working so I can come and fuck with him? Because I'm gonna definitely come fuck with him.
It should be tomorrow.
Tomorrow? What's his shift?
It should be in the morning.
Alright. And what's his name? I just come and, I'm just gonna come fuck shit up. Like I'm telling you, I'm not fucking around.
The guy who got pressured into buying a PS5 apparently is gonna come make another big scene to the manager of the GameStop. How embarrassing. And this happens every single time. The customer's the one recording this. It blows my mind how every single time there's an event like this, it's always the biggest asshole that's recording it thinking they're right. He posted this in full confidence thinking that TikTok would be on his side, but instead all they did was steam his ham. They fucking slam dunked this guy across all of TikTok and on YouTube. I saw Jamari made a video about this as well. This guy's just become an absolute laughingstock, and it was entirely avoidable multiple ways. A, not making a big hoopla about you making a bad decision financially that you regret. Your fault, take responsibility, nothing GameStop can do for you here. And 2, not filming it yourself. You could have just not filmed it. And then 3, if you had the compulsive desire to film it, you couldn't fight the urge to scratching at your neck like, I'm being an asshole, I gotta film it. Yes. Okay. Even after filming it, you could have just not posted it. Like, there were 3 ways of avoiding yourself being an absolute joke on the internet, and somehow all 3 of those filters, you went right through. Impressive.
This is, you guys are trying to upsell motherfuckers. I could have paid 800 on StockX if that was the motherfucking case.
But you're just getting the system.
I don't want no fucking Ratchet and Clank. Are you kidding me? You know what this is, bro.
No, like,
I pay $800 for some bullshit.
Like, say if like you wanted different games, like you legit like
Can you give me in-store credit for all this?
Let me stop you right there, big guy. You do not want in-store credit at GameStop. They will give you like 15 bucks for this entire PS5. It'll be 15 bucks and like 5 toothpicks. In-store credit is the last thing you should be haggling for here. It is not worth it at all.
No, y'all trying to play me. It's a brand new game and I'm here to return
You
them.
say y'all.
Y'all GameStop, and you represent GameStop. You ain't got no name tag or shirt, but you GameStop. So that's why I'm saying y'all. Yeah, if you don't want to represent it, then quit.
I work.
Ah, yes, the classic. You work at GameStop, which means you are GameStop. So all of my problems are your problems. I don't even know where to start with what just happened there. Telling him to quit if he doesn't rep GameStop. What does that mean? What are you talking about? This guy is giving you all the answers to your questions and you're still mad at him. It's your fault. You signed the receipt. You didn't have to pay $800 for the bundle if you didn't want to. You not only signed the receipt, you walked out of there and you went home, you marinated on it, and then you came back and made a big scene about it. Like, it's your fault. It's not this guy's fault. Telling him to quit his job if he's not there to, like, fight for GameStop tooth and nail is so silly. Oh, I can't stand, like, customers like this. These videos just always boil my blood, and I've never even worked in, like, the customer service industry or anything like that, but my heart absolutely breaks for the people that have. It seems so miserable, and seeing customers in real life, like, you see the worst fucking people. It's so aggravating. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this a bit since the video is floating around, and that's really about it. So yeah.
Hello guys and gals, it's me, Mudahar, and ladies and gentlemen, today's video is going down a little dark rabbit hole, a little mystery one, if you will. One that's left a few people a bit stumped. Now ladies and gentlemen, 14 hours ago on my Reddit board, Some Ordinary Gamers, I found a post. I am terrified. I was watching a random YouTube video, and someone told me to edit the YouTube link only by removing the H from watch, so it becomes Watts instead. Press enter and see where it leads you. This is horrifying. Now, of course, this YouTube account over here was watching one of my videos. Thank Minecraft for banning NFTs. Now, of course, you can see up in the YouTube URL, they asked you to remove the H. So to which I wanted to actually redo this experiment to see what was actually going on. Could it be any video? And it turns out it is. So I went to the most wholesome video on the platform, ASMR using my frog telephone to call my divorced wife. It has about 1.3 million views, and it was uploaded 1 year ago by Dank Gaming 420 Blaze It. So of course, opening this entire page, first things first, what we have to do is look into the URL and replace the H and get rid of it. And once we do that and hit enter, it takes us to one of the creepier videos on the platform. Now you might remember this if you watched deep web browsing. This video is 666 uploaded by YouTube user Nana. Now if you don't remember Nana, Nana is actually a horror channel that covers some wild sort of stories, some wild, YouTube art, if you will. Right here, Nana 825763, whose last video was actually 2 months ago, where they were playing Minecraft, but of course, they're definitely just making a bunch of offensive content. One of their most popular videos, for anybody who doesn't know, was username 666, which is a video uploaded in 2008, way back when basically they went from going to youtube.com/666, constantly refreshing it until eventually they came across this really, really decrepit page. Of course, it was a YouTube ARG, a YouTube creepy video that one could watch. Absolutely great to revisit from time to time. Now, of course, it led me down wondering what happens if we remove other letters from this. So we removed the H, right? But what if we remove the C, for instance, and hit enter? This takes us back to the same page once again. Of course, let's go down the other rabbit hole. Let's see what happens when we remove the T. So of course, this takes us to the pages and available error on YouTube. What happens when you remove the A? Let's give it a try, buckos. Let's remove that and see it takes us to a video from a channel known as 69. The video, however, does not have any letters to it. Of course, if we hit play in this case and just keep on going down and just get through the ad over here, it takes us to a Minecraft YouTube video, high pixel, whatever you want to call it. So again, there are multiple avenues for us to go down. And of course, last but not least, before we end up, let's remove the W. This takes us to one error. So of course, 2 errors, 2 creepy redirects to Nana's, horror video, and then 1 Minecraft video. So why is it that when we alter the words watch, it causes some serious issues. Well, even if we go to the word watch and we replace it with short, for instance, it'll take us to the Minecraft video in this case. So realistically, just by altering the words before this question mark, this is what causes some serious issues and redirects us to these rather creepy pages. Now, of course, in understanding just what was happening, let's go back to the first creepy page. Let's remove the H once again and be redirected to this horror section. Now, of course, right after this, you can see that the URL is slightly different. There's watch question mark V equals, then this long video ID. And of course, ampersand app equals true. So first thing that I want to do is I want to go right to this channel, 666. There are 2 videos uploaded on this channel, both 3 months ago. The channel itself was founded in 2018. Now, of course, if we go to the channel section over here, one of the culprits that gets uncovered is Uluomo. Now, this takes me to another little sub-investigation. Now, the sub-investigation took me to a Reddit board known as Jack Sucks at Life, a Reddit board dedicated to the YouTuber Jack Massey. Now, of course, they basically had a similar issue. If you change the H and C from watch, basically if you remove C and H and just get watt, you can basically find out that it takes you to a special video over here. Now, of course, you start to see the name Uluomo, which we just saw on the 666 page. So, of course, Uluomo is a connecting feature to this entire thing. Again, even researching the time work submissions that you just saw on the Reddit page, in the Reddit forum, the subreddit there, it takes us to another page that shows us other channels that are known as YouTube glitchers. So what is a YouTube glitcher? Well, to understand, a lot of what makes up text on the internet is done in Unicode, which is a standard all over, okay? Now, of course, with Unicode, there are millions, okay, up to, I think it's like 1.1 million, different Unicode-like prints. And of course, there are channels all the way talking about types of glitch channels, which in this case shows you that using certain Unicode letters, Unicode glitches, you can basically break certain YouTube channels. What they're effectively doing is they're basically creating invisible text. Text that is not recognized by your browser, but it still actually exists. So again, by using Unicode that doesn't technically exist to the naked eye, they're able to break channels and break parts of YouTube, if you will. You can start to see they broke a certain channel by basically replicating a channel in the channel page for YouTube. Now, of course, the way that this works is if you go to the Uluomo channel like we saw earlier, it's 5,080 subscribers strong. And of course, they only have 2 videos. They claim to be the 40th oldest account on YouTube. And of course, if you go to the About page, they were formed in 2005, which makes them really old. Absolutely. This is like YouTube's formation, it seems. And of course, they're located all the way in Spain. Actually, wait a second. Let me see when YouTube was formed. Yeah, February 14, 2005 is when YouTube launched. So literally, they created their account, what, like a couple months after YouTube was formed? And of course, if you go to their playlists, you can see they have nothing. You go to their videos, they basically have these videos from a year ago, 4 months ago. And of course, when you go to the About section, we just saw that. But if you go to the channels, this is when it starts to get freaky. You can see literally, because of broken Unicode, they are replicating constant channels. And of course, you click on any of these channels, you'll find out that they were taken to a user known as iLuomo. And if you look at their actual YouTube URL, you can see that their URL is WattHC. So again, if you know anything about YouTube, you know that in your channel customization tab, you can create custom URLs after a certain point in your channel's growth. So for me, I have youtube.com/c/someordinarygamers. I can change this to anything that I want. But in this case, it seems like the channel actually took WATHC and used that as a custom URL. But see, that still doesn't explain why we got redirected to 666 or creepy videos. How did that even happen? So here I opened up a video from one of my favorite channels, Alternate History Hub, and in this case, if you look closely at the URL pages, I'm going to explain how this works, okay, to the best of my ability. Again, without looking at the back end of YouTube, I can't really explain all these things with a complete 100% certainty, but I can teach you a few new things. Now, of course, in one of these videos, alright, in both of these videos, you can start to see that after the letters youtube.com, there's a slash. The slash is going to lead us to the next page within the YouTube domain. And in this case, it's the watch page. Now, the watch page appears to be the same page regardless of wherever, right? It's not, though, that they're making different watches. They're effectively using the same watch page, but of course, after it, you start to see a question mark, which serves as a separator. Now, of course, after the separator, It depends on what your site has code, depending on like what the back end of your website looks. After this, they're going to have certain different commands, certain arguments that is only going to be used after that question mark to lead to certain site-specific functions. So in YouTube site's case, after the question mark and after the watch page, they have a function where they call a V, which is video, and the video is equaling something. So that something is this video ID. And of course, for any video you use, it has a different, unique video ID. So I can take the video ID from this page, copy that, and go to this other YouTube video, and as long as after the equal sign I just change that ID, I'm effectively going to a different video. They're not necessarily making new watch pages every time you upload a video. Each video gets given a unique identification on the YouTube server. And once YouTube actually feeds this into the URL page, once your browser feeds this specific argument in, basically what's happening is YouTube is drumming up a watch page and giving you a specific video depending on whatever the argument is passed, right? Now, of course, anything after that question mark is null and void. Basically, you can type in a bunch of random gibberish. And if YouTube can't process it or the function doesn't exist, YouTube is set to effectively redirect you back to the home page. Now, of course, YouTube has a bunch of different functionalities. You can even change this argument right after to something like Muda equals something. Because there's no function site-specifically for Muda, it's just going to redirect me all the way back to the beginning, right? So, effectively, what's happening is ignore after the question mark, okay? Forget that even existed. If you just go to the watch page, you'll start to see /watch, which can't be taken as a custom URL, because that would be really wild if somebody could take /watch and turn it into their channel name. It would kind of break the site. It would literally break the site overnight. So because /watch, it's a simple redirect back to the website. So again, what's happening is after that initial slash, whatever shows up, right, is what YouTube is trying to redirect you to, at some extent, right? So if I type in some ordinary gamers, right, with question mark V equals whatever, what it's going to do is it's going to take me to my channel, and it's going to ignore everything after the question mark because it's not site specific. There's no logical function to call, right? So that's pretty much how it's happening. So again, to summarize, what it seems like is YouTube's like WATC, right, is basically taking us to this specific video. So again, that channel, and this is where I don't understand one thing, it should typically take you to a channel page. What it's doing is it's redirecting you to this specific video, with this string of characters right after. And again, I have to imagine there's something to do with Unicode kerfuffling that's actually causing this weird string to happen afterwards. So that kind of explains roughly what YouTube rabbit hole you're going down. Typically after that in the URL, the way that it's written, something is going on with the custom redirection, the custom URL. Somebody has taken a custom URL and basically made it appear so that it takes you to a creepy site, which has spawned the birth of one of these darker YouTube rabbit holes. So don't be scared, don't be worried. Somebody is just playing some shenanigans on you through YouTube's URL system and YouTube's redirects. Hopefully that's the case. Again, without looking at the exact back end of the website, I can only make educated guesses. So ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you learned something today. Hopefully you weren't too spooked out. If you liked what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am Oh, today's video is brought to you by good old Manscaped.com. Manscaped has more than 4 million men worldwide shaving their balls with the premium tools and formulations designed specifically by the greatest engineers regarding grooming and hygiene. Oh, and this time they're going past the groin with the Ultra Premium Collection. And yes, this is in fact an all-in-one skin and hair care kit that covers you from head to toe, literally. Now, Manscaped has a 5 steps in 5 minutes package all about showering, which, you know, when you're posting on a gaming channel is a little sus. But they've got 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioners. They've got body wash with refined cologne scent, body spray, hydrating indeed, aluminum free stick deodorant, and moisturizing lip balm. Yes, indeed. So what are these steps? Step 1, hop into the shower and use that 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. With ingredients like coconut water and green tea, don't consume this. It'll definitely keep you hydrated and moisturized. And then once you've got all out, your hair is rinsed, you can then apply the Manscaped body wash, which it gives you that premium perfect balance of tough cleaning and soothing hydration. It actually feels good. Step 3, once you've rinsed and toweled off, you can apply the body spray, which gives you an extra bit of moisturization. Then you've got Manscaped deodorant, and y'all know who you are. Apply some of this stick-on beauty, and you'll actually be able to fight some of that dirty, dirty BO. You'll end up smelling pretty great. Then step 5, which is the lip balm, and I promise not to do that again if you use our code. And if you ever wondered, am I showering in a cruelty-free environment? Yes, you are, because it's cruelty-free, paraben-free, and vegan, which explains why I can't shut up about it. And if you pick a replenishment cycle that works for you using the peak hygiene plan, ensuring that you won't run out of your favorite Manscaped products, then yes, please, thank you, go for that. Thank you, Manscaped, for covering me from head to toe. And make sure you go to manscaped.com and use our promo code SOG for 20% off your order plus free international shipping.
Hi.
VHS horror is some of my favorite types of horror you'll ever find on the internet. And while there's so much content that exists on YouTube in the name of Local 58, Mandela Catalog, one entertainment company that's been around for a while is Gemini Home Entertainment, clocking in at about 169,000 subscribers. A video distribution company, analog horror anthology series by Remy Abode. Now, of course, Gemini, while they say we're not going anywhere, VHS horror definitely should never go anywhere. I'm a huge fan of this kind of stuff. As you all know, I've covered these kind of arcs in the past. Very recently, we just did the Mandela Catalog, and I even looked at things like Back Rooms, which are their own sort of, lore-based series, based around very famous creepypastas. Now, I love VHS horror, as you all know, even when it goes to, like, emergency alert systems, which still give me some crazy anxiety, especially dealing with the world we live in today. I'm a huge fan of getting into this kind of stuff. Now, Gemini Home Entertainment, of course, has been around for a fair bit, and they've got numerous videos, 18 in all. Lengthwise, these videos are about, 4 minutes at the earliest to 7 minutes at the longest. They're not terribly long videos, and for the most part, they are divided into sort of sections, okay? For instance, every time you click on a specific video, you'll get sort of a TV show broadcast for a half of it, and then it'll turn into a found footage horror section towards the later bit. One that has an overarching story connecting this anthology series together. So I wanted to really dig through a few of the videos, really cover them, and sort of go through the story as we did the Mandela Catalog and as we did these other ARGs, in the view of somebody that's really come across horror like this. Because of the actual music that they've used, I may have to mute it just so that my video doesn't get copyright claimed. Gemini does not apparently put ads on their videos. They're not monetized. However, if you see an ad on their channel, it's because they've used, something in the public access, something that's monetized, specifically music, and it gets flagged. So here it is, the titular logo, Gemini Home Entertainment. So we're taking a trip to rural Minnesota, and of course, if you can tell, well, you shouldn't be able to hear the music because you can absolutely get, claimed. They're covering numerous counties, they're covering numerous animals, such as the greater prairie chicken. And of course, this is where things start out normal, alright? It's just, it's literally filmed in the vein of a standard, nature show that you would find on, like, public access television. But where things start to change is when you find out in the everywhere section, the music dips out, and then it covers a special type of animal, known as wood crawlers. So what are wood crawlers? Let's let Gemini explain it to us. Found all over North America, these animals are excellent hunters, being able to tread most terrain without making a sound. If there's something that definitely freaks me out in this whole situation, is just listen carefully to, like, how they've actually, just listen carefully, so, like, there's no track anymore, it's just ambience. Their preferred nesting locations are inside the homes of large families, where large swarms can adapt easier. You will hear screaming. Again, that's animal screaming, not human screaming. They stole their voices. See, that's when it starts to get a little creepy. Burn the bodies, lest they stand up again. So apparently it seems these wood crawlers are definitely zombie-like in a way. So now we're actually going inside, zooming into the person out. Nature's mockery. So yeah, this is where things are really creepy. At this point in the TV show, this is not part of the programming. What the f— Yeah, it's the first time I had that reaction. As you can see, they've got what appears to be 2 pieces of construction paper. I'm going to say they're hands, but it's on a budget. You can see that they're grabbing something, and then that's it. They're just dipped out of there. It's over. And this is where things change, okay? So obviously, like I said earlier, you're going to start to watch a television show that deteriorates slowly over time into something more sinister, and then you get a found footage, series that'll carry throughout the entire thing. This is part one of it. Of course, you can see that somebody is inside. It seems like somebody may be peeking out from that. No, that's just a, window. We're just looking into somebody's house right now. I can't tell if this is the same house. They've got the red paneling outside. Let me just go back and see if it's the exact same house. It is, in fact, it looks like the exact same house. Okay, zoom into their place. Let's go. There seems to be a... Oh, no. You got a kid looking at you, and this guy... I'm not able to decipher the face, but it seems like they're giving you one of those... Yeah, you see that face? You get out of there. You run. You run far away. It seems like somebody's okay. They're making mouth movements, trying to wet their mouth. And I don't know why we're getting this close to people like this. This guy's gonna turn around. Fake people. Oh, we're getting like the Mandela catalog in a way. Some shapeshifter nonsense. There's about to be a screamer at this point. No, there isn't. No? Oh. You've been detected. Oh, shit, you've been detected. Get out of there. No. Fake people, ladies and gentlemen. Remember that. Fake people. And that marks the end of the first video of the Gemini Home Entertainment series. Okay? So, of course, you can imagine, we've got world's weirdest animals, we got wood crawlers, we got fake people. And it seems like our character who's been running the investigation, it seems, for now, has been caught and detected. What has happened to them? We're going to find out in the next couple episodes. Next one comes into storm safety tips. So, of course, this one covers just it's kind of like the EAS broadcast, very chill, very relaxed, audio, where it talks about storms and how to survive in the storm. You do not want to get caught in a storm unprepared. Step 1, reinforce your house, okay? This may involve improving structural support, then install an early warning system. I think the government got you covered for that one. Creating a storm bunker would be the third step. Make sure the bunker matches the following measurements: 10 by 18 feet. Kind of a little, it's almost like a little prison cell environment. Create concrete foundation, at least 8 inches thick. In the center of your bunker, install large aluminum hemisphere, 4 to 5 feet. Place shortwave radio next to the hemisphere, and then of course they're giving recommendations for, radios and EAS systems. Only turn on radio in the event of an emergency. And it's glitched out. Okay. So what do you do during a storm? Well, let's find out. In the event that a storm hits your home, it's important to follow the 3 steps. Step 1. Quietly take your family to your bunker. Oh, the music's fading out. This guy's gonna... Your home does not belong to you now. Why doesn't it belong? How bad could the storm be if that's the case? Then you turn on the shortwave radio. Ignore all sound produced by the radio. These are auditory hallucinations. Okay. What's the point of it? Remain calm. Well, of course. Your tears are filled with salt, that's true, but remaining calm is just standard procedure. You never want to panic in these situations, especially when wood crawlers are coming after you. Of course, after a storm, if you believe the storm has passed, carefully leave your bunker to survey for damages. You guys acting like the storm is nuclear fallout or something, like you're going to be like dead. If your house has been severely damaged, check for movement inside. Do you hear the chime? You are safe. The storm has passed over. But wouldn't the chime be an auditory hallucination then? Here we've got one light, one more. That's what you would see after a storm. And once you've seen that, you're basically screwed. Okay, now we should listen. I actually looked under my feet. Crawling through the floor. It's the wood crawlers. It's the wood crawlers. Congratulations, you're now well equipped to defend you and your family against storms. Now you might be like, but Muda, what do you think? What kind of storms are we talking about? Immediately when you click onto this, you think storm is in like a hurricane warning, how to survive that. But they really built something, and it really almost feels like you're getting invaded by some like extraterrestrial species at this point. Like that's what they're kind of going with, at least from my perspective. Like wood crawlers are not a native animal, but we've had a wood crawling reference over here, and it seems these wood crawlers are definitely here to take over. All right, in some capacity, and it seems like the bunker you're building is almost as if like you're building your own tomb. You know, like a 10 by 18 cell that you stay in. And what's really funny in this situation is, throughout all the survival tips that they really threw, they never told you to get food, they never told you to get water, they never told you to get any real survival, abilities. They didn't really tell you a time frame of how long you should stay down there, only that you go down, you put in a radio, you listen to the radio, but you ignore it because it's auditory hallucinations. And then when you go out, hey, provided... Alright, there's no movement in your house, and you're not seeing lights in the distance like we just saw, you should be good. Clearly, I have to believe the wood crawlers are in fact aliens. I think they're in fact Alamals. This takes us to the next video, the Deep Blue. Now, the Deep Blue seems to be a standard little nature show about Russian water, it seems. Very nice, cool little tiki music, if you will. It's actually really, like, again, everything on this whole show I would actually see on a public access network, okay? Somewhere at like 3 in the morning. You know, you can't buy regular cable, this is all you got. The ocean is full of mystery and wonder. If you actually think there's more in space and we haven't discovered than there is in our oceans, then you'd actually be surprised. There's actually a lot of species that keep getting discovered every year in the entire ocean. In fact, places as deep as the Marianas Trench have remained unexplored. So who knows what kind of horrors exist out there, but hopefully Gemini Home Entertainment will show us. And then they get swallowed by the blue whale. Like mammoths by the blue whale, which is one of the largest sea predators on the ground. Like this is the top of the food chain. Despite its beauty, the ocean can be a very dangerous place. Actually, it's one of the most unexplored places in human history. It's actually, like, I think we know less about the ocean than we even know about space, to be real with you. The stingray may look innocent, but it carries deadly poison in its tail. However, let's get deeper into like what seems to be the Mariana Trench in this case. Yep, Marianas Trench, the deepest place on the Earth. The Marianas Trench plus the Demetia Tunnel. It is one of the deepest places on Earth. I don't even think you can go all the way down into the Mariana Trench, simply because like we don't have the things to withstand the severe pressure in the water down there. But let's see what's in the unknown depth. Okay, so here we're sending in like an EOD bot or something, like down into the depths below. So do we see something unique here? Do we see the origins of these wood crawlers? Nothing can live inside the Marianas Trench. I don't know how true that is, but okay, Chief. No, it's definitely not true. Now, if you look closer here, that seems to be the wood crawlers, okay, that seems to be the lights from the last video that we've seen. So clearly something lives inside the Marianas Trench. Maybe this is the origin point of the wood crawlers. Maybe these things aren't so alien as we thought. Maybe they were here on the Earth a long time ago. It actually kind of reminds me of the creatures from War of the Worlds, if anything. That's where I'm kind of getting. But that leads us after to artificial computer learning. So something that I like to read upon from time to time. So let's see what artificial learning has to do. Let's see what machine learning has to do with the Gemini Home Entertainment project. So you can start to see, like, at this point, how everything interlinks between one another. So obviously every single thing over here has a connection. You know, there is an overarching story. It's not just, you know, programming that you would see on standard television brought into the forefront here. So here we got Regnot Computing, which is the company that we're mentioning here. And, you know, they've got, again, you can tell by the style of this, is they're setting it way back in the day. All right, this is like somewhere in like the 80s, you know, early 90s, if you will, like mid 80s. And here we've got brief background. For the past 4 years, Regnot Computing has been developing artificial computer intelligence using new revolutionary methods. These methods have led to produce the world's most advanced AI to date. So in their universe, they actually have AI way earlier than we do. So, as a test of this intelligence abilities, we gave it the task of creating an original, intelligible story in the format of a children's story. Oh boy, this is not going to be nice. Harry, marry to follow together. Travel, follow the secret. Jack the river, it is dead. First iteration tests heed insufficient results. Through patterns and story consistency are clearly visible, albeit unrefined. Really? Let me check that. I mean, obviously the story doesn't make any sense. But I guess, yeah, there is definitely a pattern, as you can read over here. It's definitely creating a pattern. but obviously the story is relatively nonsensical. So here's the second iteration of the artificial intelligence, Gen 2. Jack leapt over the river, Mary followed close behind. They are searching for the secret place. I hear you. Okay, that's way more coherent, also way more creepy. But what are they looking for? What is the secret place? Yeah, it probably has something to do with Mariana's Trench. Or like, you know, some alien world. So again, third iteration. Jack leapt over the river. There goes Mary down the stream. The secret place will keep us safe. The river flows, but not with water. So again, it has something to do with, like, the trench or, like, you know, the dangers hidden in the sea. So finally, on iteration 4, Jack heard it again. There's a voice from space. Ah, see, I knew these things going forward. I can tell when there's a space, there's an alien story to this. Jack, do you see me? I have become something else. Okay, so it is definitely some haunting. Listen to the silver box. Okay, they're talking. There's voices. The stars are moving now. Do you see the... Okay, I'm getting freaked out. Something's de-blurring in the back. You can kind of see things. Shit, here I am. What the fuck? Wait, here it is. Visual and sort. Okay, so here we've got the visual distortion. We've got a circle with like it seems like a Death Star with an eye, and it's pointing to this circle. And here it's got intent and alive. So it is like an it's something observing. Okay, we've got those same things we saw in the last video, growing an eye, and that's where it ends. The video should have demonstrated the capabilities of Regnod Computing's. So it really just seems like that Regnod might be like a front for this alien group. Like, if you think about it, back in the 80s and the early 90s, like, they wouldn't have had any capacity to do artificial intelligence. It's not really like... I mean, while that's not entirely true, I mean, if you look into the 60s with the Eliza chatbot developed in MIT, using basically a set of scripts encased by fairly simple code, gave the illusion of speaking to a chatbot psychotherapist. But, you know, until you get, like, memory and you start to get, like, a bunch of, you know, until, like, processing power increases, this tends to become a field of relative, I guess you could say, science fiction at the time. So really, if they had AI, like Ragnar had actual artificial intelligence, it has to be something alien, okay? Because even today, even now, we're just starting to really tap into the field of artificial intelligence. And if this whole story ends up going sentient, then we're not even actually there at this point in time. So really, this is an alien society that's given us, you know, technological feats that we have yet to actually discover. And no computer back then really had the processing power to handle this kind of stuff, so... You know, at the end of the day, it seems like whatever this is, it seems like it might be a front for like an alien group. Like they're the ones that had the, like they're the ones that are running tests on the world via this artificial computer, you know, learning company. So maybe I think Regnod might actually be an alien group. This takes us to the next video, our solar system, Gemini Home Entertainment. So again, very much close to the, you know, alien, you know, outer space, maybe underwater theme that we're going for. So again, we're covering from the start, right here, the sun. I think everyone knows that. Without it, we're all dead. Situated 149 million miles away, the sun provides light for our entire solar system. Without it, Earth would be a barren, frozen rock. Then we got Mercury. As one of the smallest planets in our solar system, Mercury is also the hottest. Yeah, no shit, because it sits so close to the sun. Come on now. The second brightest object in the night sky, Venus, can sometimes be seen from Earth. I think we can see Venus, and I think it all stops, like, I think we can also see Jupiter as well. Anything beyond that is, like, impossible. Jupiter is a gas giant which has no solid surface. I think I read somewhere that Jupiter could actually be used as, like, an interstellar gas station if we ever get to that point. But this is the Great Red Eye spot, and it's not an eye. Okay. Saturn. Although mostly a gas giant, there may be a large, solid core deep inside the planet. The planet's prominent rings are quite a sight to behold. They are the gateway. And then you got Neptune, which is a large storm rages in the planet called the Great Dark Spot, and it's in the lens. See, I didn't know that. Neptune has been mutated. Mutated how? Could it have supported life? Oh, no. Wait, look carefully. Hold on, frame by frame this. You can actually see an eye open up right here. Look at... Yeah, you see that? You see that right there? That's what I love frame by frame. That's the eye right there. This is like the... So, one commonality between all of this stuff is the eye. Like, you actually end up seeing the eye everywhere you go. This is real. Where's Pluto? The iris. It is with us now. Very eye focused, okay. Laughing at us. Oh, don't zoom into that. Do not zoom into something like this. Jesus Christ. One thing I will say is that there's not any streamers here, thank God. Behold. Behold what? Is that the Storm and Neptune? These are all the various other planets, obviously. Holy crap, it looks like it looks like the universe's largest solar flare just hit him, like with the full-on gamma radiation. Yeah, it like gives you that, so okay, from what we've seen, you've got Mars in this situation. Mars is the one where we had a little bit of the graphical hiccup. So the aliens could have been from Mars, and then it went to Jupiter, it went to Saturn, which is claimed to be the gateway, and then Neptune was where things really just changed. Okay, Neptune is where we had the storm raging, the iris of the center, and what it believes to be the largest spike of radiation, the largest flare we've ever seen. So something in our solar system exists that wants to actively hunt us. These wood crawlers. We went from wood crawlers to storm warnings against the wood crawlers to being freaked out of our oceans and the stars. So clearly no place in our universe seems to actually be safe. I think there was actually, like, if I want to like step away, there was this like theory that since we haven't actually seen alien life, one of the real spooky theories that'll have you really thinking is that because we have never seen alien life, it appears that maybe something terrible might have actually happened in the entire universe that caused that to be a thing. And so that's why we haven't actually seen any like exterior life, simply because there's some great massive fragment. And we might be the only bits of life in the universe. So that's actually something that will keep you thinking. Again, if you ever wanted to like look into it, look into that theory. It's actually fucking scary. I think they call it... I want to see what it is. Hold on. Yeah, they call it the Fermi paradox. It's the conflict between the lack of clear, obvious evidence for extraterrestrial life and the various